Hi, Ty. Thank you for submitting Engini for an analysis of your AI search presence. So yeah, I had a look at Engini, and it looks like a cool website. It orchestrates agents for enterprises. Pretty cool. And I saw that there's like a bunch of different kind of like products here, or kind of like niches, which is something that we want to consider in a moment. And I noticed that also the website it seems relatively new, but it has content that goes all the way back to okay, August 25. So you have over half of your content, like 8 months of content. So you should already kind of like have some traction at this point. And so let's have a look. So we ran a report, and you didn't come up at all, which is interesting. So first of all, there are a few reasons that this could happen, where you have zero presence. One is that maybe the prompts that the system came up with are not accurate. And in any event, the system tries to guess based on your website what your business is and what are the prompts that you're likely interested to show up in. And then, the system goes out and it finds those prompts, and then it also finds the volume, how often those prompts were searched for in the last 2 months in the target market. We ran this in the US. So, for example, assuming you want to appear in how can I manage and optimize my business workflows effectively, you did not appear in these responses, and you can see other which other brands did appear. So the first thing you would do in any event would be to kind of fine tune the prompts to make sure that they are actually relevant for your business. And we have a bunch of tools that do that. We actually have this cool tool that we released a few days ago, where you can just describe the prompts that you are looking for. And I do this for every product of yours, for the since you have like different kind of like the finance, the HR specialist, sales. So each one of these products or workers, somebody would probably search for using different types of prompts. I'd create a topic for each each one of these verticals, each one of these products, or each one of these workers, and then describe to the system what you can do, and have it find the prompts that people would write or people are searching for when they look for products like these. Now, it might not have high volume today because it's a pretty new thing. So, I mean, I wouldn't be, concerned about that, but I just have the prompts, at least, even if they don't have any volume, you want to have the prompts in the system that you want to come up for. So let's try to find out why you're not appearing. And right now, you can see all kinds of brands that are appearing in response to these prompts. And assuming that these prompts are actually what you guys do, and I kind of looked at them, and they do seem like you do a suggested IT worker, AI IT worker. So you do want to appear for these in response to these prompts. So let's try to find out what went wrong, or how can you improve and start showing up. So the first thing I like to do is do like a quick analysis of your homepage. And I ran an analysis, and what the system found is that you have the technical factors are good. You have your robots.txt is not blocking any AI bots. You have a sitemap that's configured correctly. You're fine. Everything looks fine. But then I had a look at how the bots see your homepage, and this is interesting. What the bots do, so when they grab your page, they actually take the HTML and they run it through a parser to turn it into markdown, and then they read the first chunk of tokens, the first chunk from that page. And what I found here, once you run your HTML through a markdown processor, a standard one, we see that it caught like the really first part of the content, but then it sees this base64 image that takes up a huge portion of the page. And actually, it probably takes up all the tokens that the model is going to read at the first stage. The models don't read the whole page. They only take the first chunk, and they have a token limit for every page that they read. So this might be the reason why the models are not quite sure who you are, what the website is about, and that might give a clue on why the content is not being cited. So I look into removing base64 images from the code, or have a look at the tech behind your homepage. Now, assuming, let's put that aside for a moment and look at the content that you have, and kind of look at also at that. So you have here in the blog here. So I wanted to see if you're indexed at all. If your content is not indexed on Google, models have no way of finding your content. The way it works is that models they search the web. They search Google and Bing, mostly Google these days, using their API. and they fetch the first 30 results. And then they look at the content, and then they cite content from those search results. So you have to first of all appear on Google, but you don't have to be on the first 10 results. Opposed to SEO, where SEO optimizes for humans to find you on the first page, Geo is about getting the models to find you in the first 3 pages, the first 30 results. And the way that the models prompt, they write their their search queries is different from how humans write search queries. And we actually capture that in the system when we actually when the system goes out, when ChatGPT, for example, goes and searches content on Google, we actually see how it wrote what search query was. And then we optimize for these search queries, for the model's search queries, not the human search queries. Humans don't write 2026 at the end of a query on Google, because I mean they assume that that Google knows 2026. So there's all kinds of with all kinds of little tweaks and differences in how models write, how they search for content. So back to here, let's look at one of these blog posts, and we have in Spotlight, you can connect your Google Search Console to see for every piece of content that you own to check out whether if it's indexed by Google or not. But I don't have your credentials, so I'm just going to do I'm going to show you a hack that I do. But you can log in yourself, and then here in the citation tracker, you can actually add all of your content from the sitemap. Let's just import that real quick. Let's import your blog posts. Get all your blog posts. Sorry, all these except for the index. We don't need this one, but all the blog posts. We'll import those, and now the system is going to track them. And yeah, well, actually, none of them show up because none of them are actually cited. So what I want to do, I want to actually check if you are indexed without access to your Google Search Console. So you can do this with one click on the button within the system. But let's say I'll just take this title here, and then I'll just go to Google, and I'll tell it to look at Engini, your website, and then look for this title. Let's see if it found it. Yeah, okay, I found it. So it's indexed on Google. That's great. So that means that it's not an indexing issue. It's an issue that is probably related to either the content that is not relevant to any of the prompts that we ran, or maybe the homepage where it just doesn't have any, it doesn't really know who you are, and it's not sure about your website. So I'd fix the homepage first of all. But the content. So our approach in Spotlight that we found very effective is to optimize content per prompt. So what we do, the first stage is really help you find the prompts that are relevant to your business that you want to track. And then the system goes out and creates content or suggests content based on that specific prompt that's optimized for that prompt. So for example, if you want to appear for how can I manage and optimize my business workflows effectively, then the system will go out and analyze all of the citations that the models, all the data sources that the models cited. And it'll also optimize all of the keywords that the models themselves used in order to search content, search for content. That's what we want to optimize. We want to optimize for those keywords that the models are actually using. And then now the system is now analyzing the profiles of all of those data sources that were cited. It's looking at the content, it's looking at the tone of voice, at the number of words, the images, the videos, the schema markup types, the structure, the FAQ sections. It looks at everything to try to find out why were these pieces of content cited? What's special about them? And then the system will come out and suggest content that you should write that is highly aligned with the profile of these cited pieces of content. And it's also going to suggest ideas for content that nobody wrote about, so that you can add something fresh to the discussion. And we see models liking to cite content that can add something fresh to the discussion. So this will actually generate content for you. I'm not going to go through the whole flow, but once you post this content that is optimized for the prompt that you're targeting, then you have a very, very high chance of winning, getting cited. And then in your content, you want to have obviously a mentioning of your brand. Now this is interesting. See 2025 here. The models are searching using keywords that are 2025, 2026. They're actually searching for things in the past, which is not a human thing to do. But this is actually how the models searched for content. So optimizing for geo is different than SEO. Now another approach that you have here is you have the Reddit posts that you can go out and engage with For example, this one was cited in 4 different responses, this specific Reddit post. So then you'll find with the system all kinds of posts that you can use to get a mentioning, to get the models to read. And then we have all these other tools that you can reach out to like third-party websites and get them just to mention your brand. Even if your website has an issue now technically, or you're not being cited, you can reach out to these other platforms. They could be, they might be competitors. They might not. And even if they are competitors, you can offer them in exchange, to mention your brand in exchange for them mentioning their brand. And we do that. We still Spotlight, we actually exchange mentions with our direct competitors, and it benefits both sides. So you can have them mention you here in this blog post, assuming this is relevant to you. This might not be relevant to you. Maybe it is. So this is kind of like where we have more options besides your own on-site tactics. So I hope that was helpful. There's a ton more. You can reach out if you want to chat, and I'll send you this link to this dashboard so you can play with it. Here, there's also a section that talks about how you appear in the eyes of the models when people ask about your brand. So when people ask about the security measures of Engini, so you can see exactly what the models think about the brand. And you can also then see like where the models get their information about you. So here they are going to your website to get some information. They are citing the website, but not necessarily reading the content there. But they are citing the website. Yeah, there's much more. I hope that was helpful, and I wish you best of luck in your journey, your AI visibility journey.